on CityCast Nashville. It's time for our Friday News Roundup. From state legislature headlines to celebrity buzz, there's lots to talk about. And I've got executive producer Whitney Pastorek and producer Daniel Sumstein here to break it all down with me. It's Friday, February 14th. I'm your Valentine's Day host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Aw, you guys, it's our first Valentine's Day news roundup.
Aw.
Y'all don't sound very excited.
I'm trying to muster excitement about this holiday that just simply reminds me each and every year of how very alone I am. But I can never be alone when I have the two of you.
That's right.
Right. My wife and I did our annual Dino's Valentine's last night, which was awesome.
Oh, that's lovely.
How was it?
It was great. We went there and then we went to Coral Club after. So it was a great date night.
What did you get at Dino's?
Cheeseburger and then the animal style fries. Can't beat it.
Do you get the fancy cheeseburger?
No, I did see that on the menu and I thought about it, which for some reason I didn't even know they have that. Like I've been there so many times, but I just stick with the classic cheeseburger.
Well, you guys, I want to surprise you. I wrote you a poem.
What?
I'm a poet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Marie, I love a poem.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Everyone in Nashville has the flu. Yay!
Yes.
I mean, not yay, I guess. Yes, the fact is, according to the CDC, we're currently one of the top 5 states for influenza illnesses in the country right now. And sadly, Tennessee has reported its first flu-related child death of the season.
Oh, God.
So this is a really serious issue that's happening in our state right now.
Well, and I've seen that a lot of local school districts have been closed.
Yes.
To try to stop the transmission.
So I just want to remind listeners, we all know this by now, but wash your hands, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid people who are sick. You know, sometimes I even ask, like when a friend invites me to do something like, do you have a cough? How you feeling over there? Any fever? And then, of course, you know, if you want to wear a mask, you can do that as well. Have you all noticed, as I have a scratchy throat, have you all noticed any friends or family sick here in Nashville?
Yes, you're sick, Marie.
I know. I'm fighting through
Luckily,
it.
we tape remotely.
It's just this, like, yes, I have phlegm in my throat this week, folks. Sorry about that.
Everybody's got a little touch of something. And it's hard because to my earlier sad comment about how alone I am, we want to be together. You know, it's a really challenging time right now is, I guess, the euphemism that we're using to describe the state of the universe at this exact moment. And I want to be around the people who I do love. Not that it's not the two of you. And have fun and hang out. Like, Daniel, you went to Dino's last night. You know, I was at East Nashville Beer Works on Wednesday. And I saw so many people who I love. And it just felt great to hug them. And so it is frustrating when we have these upticks in communicable diseases. Because I think we all need a little extra hug stuff right now. Hug stuff?
Yeah.
That's gross.
Hug stuff. Yeah, spread the hugs.
Spread hugs, not bugs.
Ooh, I love that. How romantic. Put it on a Valentine's and call it a day. Well, I wish I had better news about this weekend's weather. You know, if it was warm, we could all be outside where the diseases spread less. But unfortunately, we're expecting a lot of rain. According to Nashville Severe Weather, they've reported a flood advisory is going into effect 12 a.m. Saturday until noon on Sunday with potential flash flooding.
Yeah, they're saying it's going to be like 2 to 5 inches on top of what we've already gotten this week, which was pretty considerable. My backyard started to look a little swampy.
Whitney, what do you do when you're driving and you come up against rushing water on the street?
You know, Marie, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to say my favorite thing of all time, which is you turn around and you don't drown. Everybody,
yes.
You can do it. Your car is not a boat.
It makes me so nervous. I should take your advice. I have gone through like a river-esque type situation.
No,
There's this
Marie,
one
no.
street in Belmead that you like go down in a river. I think they blocked this street off now, but you would just like go through a river and just, you know, pray. But yeah, no, turn around, don't drown.
Like Oregon Trail style. You like get caught.
No. Get dysentery on Valentine's? No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Would any of you ever use a duck boat as your personal vehicle? You know the duck. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say duck boat?
I don't.
That like tourist.
Yeah, they have them in some cities where it's an old school military vehicle that is a boat, but then when it gets on land, it has wheels, so it like drives up the boat ramp. They have them in Hot Springs, Arkansas, is the place I know I've seen them.
Don't give Elon Musk any ideas.
Oh God,
Whitney. Could you imagine a cyber
duck
truck
boat.
duck?
That's what he's claiming they're supposed to be able to do, and then you see those videos of people getting stuck in the mud on a riverbank, and I just have to laugh.
Yeah. Mm.
Speaking of driving.
Yeah, speaking of driving, Daniel, I have a question for you. Do you know when the deadline is to get a real ID?
I do, and I also need to get a real ID. It's May, I think. Yeah, it's May.
That's correct.
Last time I went to the airport, they handed me like a little form that was like, "Hey, you don't have a real ID. Make sure to get it by May," which felt a little aggressive. I'm like, I know, man, you don't need to like hand me homework. I'm just going through, I'm going through TSA here. So yeah, I know that it's in May and I need to do it soon because don't want to deal with the chaos of like trying to do it last minute because everyone's going to be trying to get it last minute, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's
and this
true.
is something that's been in plans for 2 decades. Since lawmakers in Washington, D.C. passed the Real ID Act to establish minimum security standards for state-issued IDs. But no, really, this time, you really have to have one. And
Yes.
I have one. I got it a couple of years ago. It's like you get a little special Sneetch star on your ID. It doesn't look any different than the other driver's license, but you have to bring extra materials to the DMV.
4 different documents, I believe, which is a lot. Well, Stephen Elliott from the Nashville Banner had a great article this week posing the question, do I really have to get a real ID this time? Which I think is great to put out because it has been very confusing. Like you said, Whitney, it's been 2 decades since the lawmakers passed this. The answer Stephen gives us is actually no, but you have to then have a passport to fly domestically or to enter federal facilities like a military base. So if you don't have a passport, then you absolutely do then have to get a real ID.
Yeah.
And the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security has recently announced that they added 1,500 daily real ID appointment slots at centers around the state to help address any last-minute rush.
Well, that's
So
nice.
that's good.
Thanks for that great information, Marie.
So what I just gave y'all was just like a little box of chocolates on Valentine's Day. Those were some little news morsels for you. But Whitney, let's get into some of the state legislature news from the week. Things kicked off at the Capitol Monday evening when Governor Bill Lee delivered his annual State of the State address. Was there anything in there that specifically impacts Nashville?
Well, all of it will impact us in some way, obviously, but the speech really focused on his statewide priorities. He wants us to invest in nuclear energy developments, grants for people to be able to go to trade school, and obviously work towards even more deregulation. He gave a nod towards the new quote unquote Department of Governmental Efficiency that's led by Elon Musk, who we mentioned earlier, who makes bad trucks, as an example of how Tennessee could streamline and simplify things. And he touted the accomplishments of the recent special session, like expanding school vouchers statewide and enacting a plan for a state immigration enforcement division, as well as something we've talked about here on this podcast, which is putting a Class E felony on any local official who votes for something that resembles a sanctuary policy, even though sanctuary policies are already illegal in the state of Tennessee. So that whole section about the special session provoked a bunch of local Democratic legislators like Representatives Justin Jones, Jason Powell, Vincent Dixie, and Senator Charlene Oliver to walk out of the chamber in protest. One or more of those people represents, I think, all of us here on this podcast. How do y'all feel about your representatives walking out?
Well, I think it's better than banging your head up and down on the desk during the address. Personally, my representative is Charlene Oliver. I respect her and her decisions. So I think that it was good to call attention to how they felt about what he was saying. Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough for me because I feel like obviously all the immigration stuff is extremely frustrating. And it's ultimately just, to me, it's like we're not getting anywhere. No one is working for us. And by walking out, like I get that you're frustrated, but I'm also frustrated that as my elected official, you aren't there to represent our voices.
How would you like your voice to be represented during what's effectively like the State of the Union speech? Was there something more they could have done in the room, do you think?
I think just, continue, as exhausting as it probably is to, like Marie said, bang your head against the desk or bang your head against the wall. I would like to at least have those voices be shared and those opinions shared in whichever format. Walking out sometimes to me can feel like just giving up. I don't know. I just want our elected officials to be there to represent us in all capacity.
But ultimately, as we know, we are a Republican-led supermajority, and there is really nothing that our Democratic representatives can do except do things in protest.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We don't have the power that some other states have where they could even slow down the process. Really, the only thing they can do is try to raise their voices. And then when they get shouted down or gavelled down, or in the case of people like Representatives Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, Gloria Johnson, the Tennessee Three, they can get expelled from their seats if they're trying to use their voices in the chamber. But I agree, it's a terrible way to ensure that the full constituency of the state of Tennessee is being heard.
Right.
I will give Governor Lee credit for mentioning one local thing that did catch my eye. He would like to spend $100 million for a new regional water system to protect the Duck River, our local Duck River, which is both the most biologically diverse river in the nation and one of the most endangered rivers in the nation because we're taking too much water out. So one plan is to potentially reroute water. How do y'all feel about all of this? I mean, the only time that a lot of people, unless you live near it, the only time a lot of us Nashvillians come in contact with the Duck is if we go kayaking down there. Have either of y'all noticed changes over the last few years?
I kayak quite frequently on the Duck River during the summertime. I haven't noticed a huge change over the years other than it's so clean. The water is very clean. You can see the bottom in some places. My question, though, is, so you're saying he has suggested rerouting the Tennessee River?
So this $100 million is actually seed money for a pipeline that could come from the Tennessee River. It could also come from the Cumberland to bring water into that area. And it would just help take some pressure off the Duck.
I'm sure they do that all the time, so I shouldn't be angry about it, but we'll see how it plays out.
But look, it's scary. I mean, ultimately, we've got to deal with how we're consuming our natural resources.
Right.
I have not kayaked on the Duck River. I did win a kayak on The Price is Right once, though.
What?
How is this just now coming up?
Yeah, I'll have to play you guys the episode sometime.
You won on The
Yeah.
Price is Right, and you didn't lead with that?
Yeah, I won a
your
kayak.
introduction.
I was the guy that bid $1 over the person next to me to win it. So I don't feel great about that, but it's a ruthless game.
So you got down to the thing.
Oh yeah, I got to spin the wheel and everything.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to track this episode down and put it in the show notes. I'm aghast. I don't know how we can even have the rest of this episode now.
It was like in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
This is incredible.
gobsmacked.
Drew Carey is the man.
Where is said kayak?
I actually ended up selling it and bought a drum set instead.
Ah,
So,
sweet.
yeah.
Very Nashville.
But the
So
guy I
Nashville.
sold it to was so stoked. He was like, "Man, this
Aw.
is like such a great kayak. You're giving me a deal."
I do want to talk briefly about trash because the Nash Villager newsletter from WPLM raised some issues yesterday morning that made me all stressed out. So the Middle Point landfill down in Rutherford County is where we send our trash, right? And it's full. It will run out of capacity in 4 years. So they're trying to expand it. And according to News Channel 5, the general manager of the landfill proposed a list of changes to the Rutherford County Public Works Commission. One of them is to divert all Davidson County, aka Nashville, curbside trash away from the landfill because he said he's heard loud and clear that, quote, Rutherford County cannot be the place where Nashville disposes most of its trash. Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr, on the other hand, opposes expanding the landfill because it's threatening the Stones River, which is my favorite river to kayak on. But he does agree on that last point. According to the Murfreesboro Daily News Journal, he said, it is time for Davidson County to deal with the problem of their solid waste inside their county and quit using Rutherford County as their trash can. So that seems not ideal for us. Where in Davidson County would you put a landfill? And you're not allowed to say Bordeaux. Go.
I don't know. I don't think we have a spot. Do we? Kid Rock's big ass honky tonk.
We'll get to that.
Start there.
Local Democrats, Senator Heidi Campbell and Representative Bill Freeman, are trying to help with our trash troubles in the legislature this session via the Tennessee Waste Reduction and Recycling Act, which they've filed. It aims to lean on private producers to implement strategies to increase recycling and get those recyclable materials out of landfills in the first place. They're saying the act could generate as much as $300 million for recycling, add almost 8,000 jobs, and repurpose 950,000 tons of waste, which is something we're just obviously going to have to do. And, we're going to try to get Senator Campbell back on the show. And then, yes, speaking of repurposing waste, when we come back, we're going to talk about Kid Rock.
All right, we're back. So, I don't know if you all saw the news, but Vanderbilt University is expanding. They've secured land for a satellite campus in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Ooh.
The campus is set to host a lot of their graduate business programs, like their School of Management, School of Engineering, and AI programs, as well as hosts an innovation hub.
Ooh, a hub.
A hub, yeah. Palm Beach is home to around 60 billionaires, and with nearly 25% of Vanderbilt students coming from the top 1% of earners, this is fantastic news for people born into ridiculous amounts of generational wealth.
Woo-woo!
As one of my favorite comedians, George Carlin, used to say, it's a big club and you ain't in it. So I did read, though, that the campus is planning to use solar energy capabilities, and they're also going to have an arboretum showcasing Florida species. So I thought that was pretty rad.
I'm going to say, yeah, but I'm going to rain on your arboretum parade. Florida, not currently known as a bastion of expansive thought in higher education. Would y'all go to college in Florida right now? Would you send your metaphorical children to college in Florida right now?
If I could freaking afford it, I would go to Vanderbilt here, but not the one in Florida. They also already established a regional hub in New York back in 2023. So they're eyeing a campus there as well, which that sounds a lot more appealing to me.
All right. Well, so that's one thing that Nashville is exporting. Let's talk about some things that have been imported to Nashville from the great state of Detroit, Michigan.
What are you talking about, Whitney?
Well, let me start with a good thing. So congratulations to the White Stripes on their nomination for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Tennessean recently cited the White Stripes and the Black Crowes, who are genuinely connected to Nashville. Rich Robinson lives outside of town. They record here. But the White Stripes, y'all, Jack White lives here. That's cool. Third Man is awesome. That's terrific. He's been here for a while and I appreciate it, but I am going to take issue with calling the White Stripes a Nashville band. That is a Detroit band, period, in my opinion. And I will hear no argument. Would anyone like to fight with me on that, though?
Wait, the Tennessean reported that the White Stripes are a Nashville band?
They said 2 bands with Nashville ties have been named as nominees to be considered for a 2025 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Both the White Stripes, the disbanded group that made Nashville home some 20 years ago, and the Black Crowes. So
no, Detroit, baby.
That is a Detroit band. Detroit, Rock City.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back.
Thank you. No one ever wants to fight with me on this podcast.
We can fight about barbecue on another day.
Got to find other things to fight about. People aren't going to tune in.
Speaking of Detroit transplants, Kid Rock, aka Robbie from Joe Dirt, walked. Incredible.
Oh, is that? Oh, now I know who he is.
And Brandy. And Brandy. Incredible movie. Kid Rock was seen walking off stage at JBJ's Nashville, which is the bar owned by Bon Jovi. Absolute legend. He got upset that the crowd didn't clap enough. So in a viral video, he was seen yelling, "You know what? Screw y'all. You ain't gonna clap. I'm gone." Which is, I think it's hilarious that like he didn't even give the crowd a chance. It was like 45 seconds into his set and he's like, yeah, F this. Did you all happen to see that video?
Oh, yeah.
I sure did. It is hilarious in the way that only a drunk Kid Rock can be. But I'm a little insulted on behalf of David Bryan, who is the keyboardist for Bon Jovi. It was his birthday. That was what was happening. It was David Bryan's birthday party. And Kid Rock was there to sing as part of that birthday party. And he pulled this crap. John Bon Jovi is a legitimate Nashville hero at this point after saving the life of a woman on the John Siegenthaler pedestrian bridge. And so boo, I say to this, boo.
I felt so bad for the vocalist that was like backing up Kid Rock as well. She was like trying to keep up and like she sounded incredible. I'm sure she's someone super famous and I should know who she is. But like it's an unfortunate video and I'm actually glad people caught it and it's gone viral because I think people should see that type of little man behavior.
Little man behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm thrilled that the White Stripes can claim Nashville, or at least Jack White can. As we know, we haven't heard from Meg White in years, and God bless her, and I hope she's safe, and I completely agree with her choice. And please, Meg, stay gone. We love you. Protect yourself. But, you know, Jack White loves Nashville. That's clear. He can stay. Kid Rock?
You gots to go.
Like a colostomy bag that's been opened and swung over a large crowd is now splattered all of us with his talent.
Yes. Well, there is a reason why Nashville is also called Rashville, and that's thanks to Kid Rock's big ass honky tonk. You know, on that note, I think we can wish everybody another happy Valentine's Day, but stay safe out there.
We love to go out on a colostomy bag reference for Valentine's Day.
And stay dry this weekend, folks.
Yeah, clear those storm drains.
Thank you for tuning in to our threesome.
Ew!
Give hugs, not bugs.
Give hugs, not
give
bugs.
hugs, not bugs. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson. Our executive producer is Whitney Pastorek. Our producer is Daniel Sumstein. Our Hey Nashville newsletter editor is Margaret Kingsbury, and our theme music is by Prof Jenkins. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back Tuesday morning after we observe President's Day on Monday with more news from around the city. Toodles!